If you're an executive thinking about getting divorced, there are certain things you want to think about. One of the issues is spousal support, right? If you're about to get a big bonus or a big promotion, uh, if possible, let's think about separating you from your ex sooner rather than later. The date of separation is a really important point for you. You want to kind of cap out your ex's, interest in, your earnings and what you've been building for yourself. The sooner we can make your date of separation, the date that you've made clear to your ex that you don't want to continue staying in this marriage, the better. And that can be kind of tricky. So we really need to unentangle you guys. There was a case back in the day where the executive's ex was still doing his laundry. So even though they completely separated, because she was still doing his laundry, the court found he had a much later date of separation. So we need to really speak with you and make sure we're doing everything possible to really make clear that you are separated right now. If your spouse has a spending issue and is overspending while you're earning the money for your household, that's an issue, and you don't want to continue to make those expenses that your ex has. You don't want those to be considered community expenses that you have to pay for as part of the division of your assets and debts of your divorce. So the state of separation will also protect you from that. We need to look at exactly what your role is in your company and look at those financials, look at your 1099s, you have a W-2, and figure out exactly what we're looking at as far as spousal support or child support if you have kids, and figure out what we can do to kind of minimize that obligation to protect you down the road. Because as you continue to, build your professional life and get promoted and make more money, you don't always want to feel like you're on the hook to your ex. And if you have kids, you might feel that way because you're always going to be paying child support if you're the high earner. But as far as spousal support, we can do things like, I think the second tip I'd give you is, let's talk about negotiating a buyout for spousal support. If we can negotiate a buyout on the front end, that's a great way for your ex to then waive his or her rights to spousal support down the road. If he or she feels like she's getting a big piece of the pie right now, great, right? Give him or her that money right now so that as you continue to get promoted and your income continues to go up in your company, and if you're a partner, you get more and more distributions, whatever it is, let's not have your ex have a piece of those. The third thing I would want to talk to you about is if your company is about to get bought out by another company or something, you're about to get a big payout. Let's try again. Let's try to get your divorce done sooner rather than later, right? Let's kind of look at the landscape of your company. I know you don't know exactly what's going to go on, but let's see if we can kind of think through and figure this out. We had a client recently whose company merged with another company, and he got a big payout, and he really didn't want to have to disclose that to his ex. And unfortunately, under California law, as long as you're going through this divorce process, you have a duty to do comprehensive financial disclosures. At the front end, you have to do them, and then you sometimes have to do them at the back end too, unless your ex is going to waive those final financial disclosures. So let's try to get this all buttoned up ahead of time. So if you're going to get a big payout in the future, you can enjoy that money on your own. Keep in mind, though, that if you do get a big distribution or something like that, it could be, a piece of it you're going to have to pay in the form of child support if you have kids, okay? You're always going to support your kids, and I'm sure you're okay with that, right? And if you're not okay with that, maybe go talk to a different family law firm. But, we like representing people that want to take care of their kids, right? No offense. So, you're going to have to pay a piece of that to your kids, but maybe you don't have to pay so much to your ex, while you're moving on. Maybe you want to, get married and have a new life and, not worry so much about every win you have in your professional life, having to share it equally with your spouse. We get that. We understand that. So let us help you, preserve your financial assets and preserve your professional and financial future and kind of button things up ahead of time so you can kind of live your life and put all your efforts you want into your professional life after your divorce, right? So you can really enjoy the benefits of that with your kids. If you're a business owner and you're going through a divorce, I want you to know that a lot of this is going to be tax-free. You're not going to have to pay those federal taxes or gift taxes in related to the assets that are divided pursuant to your divorce. This is the rule in California. When those assets are divided, no tax implications. As long as the division of your assets is made pursuant to a marital settlement agreement, which is part of that judgment that's been submitted to the court, it's formally part of your divorce. So that will all be tax-free. So I don't want you to worry about the impact of, tax obligations made in relation to how your assets are divided between you and your spouse. If you're an executive or, a high-performing professional going through a divorce, it can be a lot. right? You're already kind of dealing with all of the stuff in your company, right? You're handling things, you're getting things done. You have a lot of weight on your shoulders. Maybe you have kids at home. You're handling that too, right? You're handling the nanny. You're managing everything. Okay, let us manage your divorce and take that off your plate. And when you're meeting with us and when we're helping you kind of navigate your divorce, you're gonna have to make decisions. We're gonna give you options and tell you what you could do, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be your choice. We have found the clients that are able to make decisions are usually the clients that are in weekly therapy with like a PhD, like a psychotherapist that's legitimate. If you're in weekly therapy and you're still feeling like a hot mess in your head, please change therapists. Not all therapists are created equally. You need somebody that's going to get you and help you be laser focused and figure out what you need to do and what you want. Let us be the executive of your divorce. Let us be the power player here. You don't need to be, okay? We have had clients with high performing jobs that still want to be the executive of their divorce, and we help them, we let them take control, but if I'm going to be honest with you, it never goes very well for them because they're not family law attorneys, right? So you got to part of this process is going to be releasing a bit of that control when it comes to making decisions about your divorce. If you're an executive going through a divorce, or if you're a high performer and you're in the tech space and you have stock options, you might be wondering, how are they going to be divided with the divorce? Not to be a lawyer, but it depends, right? It depends on when you receive the stock and also on the vesting schedule. In California, we use the time rule in order to determine, what your spouse's community property interest is in these stocks, right? Community property means that it's property that is given value during your marriage, so your spouse is going to have a piece of it. And so that kind of depends. If let's say you received the stock from your company before you got married, but then it vested during the marriage, then a portion of that is going to be your separate property, and a portion is going to be community property, and your spouse is getting a piece of it. Does that mean that your spouse actually gets to take your stock from you? No, probably not, right? You're just going to buy him or her out. They get a little more money in the equalizing payment you give them. I want you to think of it the same way when it comes to, what you received as far as your compensation package when you started your job. Okay, maybe you got a really big bonus when you started your job, and that bonus was based on you starting your job. They were so stoked to have you, they offered you this bonus to kind of convince you to come to that company. Okay, if you got that bonus before you got married, that's your separate property. Keep that. Don't worry about sharing a piece of that with your spouse. Let's say, though, you got it before you got married, and then you got more bonuses based on your performance at the company. If this bonus is given to you based on your actual performance during your marriage, right, while you were married, then your spouse is going to more get a piece of that. If you've already spent that bonus, not an issue, right? But if we can earmark that bonus and we see where that money is, and if that bonus pops up and your spouse knows that she or he is entitled to it, that's kind of how that's going to work. If you're not honest with us, then, if you're not going to be honest with us, go work with a different family law attorney, okay? But if you've already hired us and then we find out you're not honest with us, I just need to let you know that if you don't disclose an asset as part of your financial disclosures, you can be punished for that by a court. If your ex finds out that you didn't disclose that asset can basically be just handed to your ex, and then you might have to pay for his or her legal fees and pay sanctions. We don't want that for you. You might think that your ex isn't very financially savvy and isn't going to figure it out. He or she probably will. If you're a high-performing professional or an executive and you need help through your divorce, I want you to know that, we have lots of experience helping executives and high performers like you. And we get you, and we know you want to control the process, and we know you want to protect yourself financially, as well as make sure that your spouse is going to be okay. We know you're used to taking care of people, but for this, let us take care of you, okay? We know what you need, and we know how to do that. Schedule a free case evaluation with a member of our intake team. Let us talk you through your specific situation so that we can match you with the best, most experienced family law attorney that has worked with specific clients like you. If you're a CEO of a tech company, let's match you with our attorney that has experience working with CEO of tech companies. If you're an executive inside your company, let's match you with someone that has that specific experience. We want you to feel heard and supported by your attorney and not have to spin those wheels and have extra worries to micromanage us and make sure we're doing everything right. Okay, we want you to feel peace in your head and know that we're doing everything right for you that we possibly can. So come contact us so we can help you.